Hey everybody, welcome back to Hillbilly Garage. It's been a couple of days. I had to go out of town for a couple of days. I had to go win a greater competition, but you know, that's how it goes. Because I told y'all I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm an equipment operator. But anyway, it's been about 42 miles shy of 500 miles on Henrietta since we did the rings and everything in it. So I'm going to get that break-in oil change done because we're getting ready to do a little bit of riding and it's going to put me over, and I don't want to be over. We've already talked about that. Going over on your oil changes, not good. So we're going to knock that off.
Especially with fresh engine.
But I've also told y'all that even though it's a little early to be worrying about sludge, but we're going to start off right, and we're going to try the Berryman's system. And Henrietta holds 7 quarts, so we're going to put 7 ounces.
What is that again?
This is Berryman Chem Tool.
Show them the can.
And no, Berryman's is not a sponsor.
Now what are you going to do with that?
This is going in the engine oil. And this is a cleaner. In the future, as the oil changes are out to 4,000 and 5,000 miles, then this will help to make sure that there's no sludge buildup that's going on in the motor, and that it comes out when you do your oil changes.
But you don't want to leave that in for a long time, right?
Well, according to Berryman's website, if you use it as an engine flush, they say to put it into a cold engine, bring it up towards operating temperature, and then change your oil immediately.
What happens if you leave it in there?
Well, the Berryman's is meant to break down oil and sludge and trash, and we don't want it to take viscosity out of our engine oil. So we're going to follow their instructions, put it in, start it, move it, bring it in the garage, and then we're going to drain it straight out. So let's go on out to the truck. Like I said, and I got my short guy problem. I'll be right back. Y'all see it. Just put this straight into the crankcase. Whenever you pull your caps, everybody, go ahead and take a look at them. Make sure you don't have anything going on inside your cap, dirt, corrosion, baby poop.
Baby poop.
If you see baby poop, then that means you have water in your oil, which means you've got bigger problems. A little bit of black oil on the bottom of your cap, it's normal, don't worry about that. But put our cleaner in there. We're going to start it up. I went ahead and pulled her in the garage. Run the oil temperature up a little bit. Raise it up on a jack and a jack stand. Make it easier to get to my oil filter. Somebody didn't put the creeper back where it goes.
I wonder who that was.
It's hard to find things when you go look for them and they ain't where they belong.
So I know you can't really see, but he's putting the jack stand up under the front axle. Is that where you're putting it? Because you got to take the tire off.
The front suspension.
Yeah, so you can't see it right now, but that's what he's doing.
Anytime you're going to be under your vehicle, make sure you jack it and support it on something. Jack stands, cinder blocks, something that'll hold the weight. Because you certainly don't want anything to happen and it come down on you. Alright, when you do oil changes, you can use some pretty basic tools. Of course, you're going to need some sort of a catch pan. I just use that one because it holds a pretty good bit, and it's got a neck on it, makes it easier to pour the oil into the old jugs. But there's a couple different options. You can pick pans like this up at Walmart. I don't know, $5, $6, $7. Don't need a funnel. I just have different ones for different jobs. But these pans out of the household aisle works just as well. Just something to catch it. To make sure that you don't have it running all over the floor on you. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, but we're going to do the best we can here. And basic hand tools. My particular oil plug takes a 13 millimeter, but they range in varying sizes from normally not any smaller than 1/2 inch or 13, and usually not much bigger. I've seen one or two that are 19 millimeter or 3/4, but they're usually not ever that big. And most of the time, though, for oil filters, your oil filter wrench, you can get some that are handheld. I'll show you a couple options here in a minute. But I am going to get down under here. I'm going to come from the other side, and she'll look in this side, and we'll get that oil pan plug out. Remember, you ran this, so things are very warm. As a matter of fact, hold on just a minute.
Alright, go.
Alright, y'all might be asking, why did I jack it up on one side and go from the other? It actually has more to do with the oil filter than it does the drain pan, or the drain plug. Right here, this is where my drain plug is on this one. When you put these in, I mean, they need to be tight enough where they won't come undone on you, but they don't need to be so tight where it takes 3 men and a boy to get it undone. Now, if you hold your hand up above the plug with a pair of gloves on, and you just kind of unthread it while you hold pressure till you know it's loose, and then yank it out. That helps keep all that hot oil from running all down your hand and your arm. When you pull your plug out, you want to look at the end of them. Most of them are magnetic. This one doesn't seem to be, but you're just looking for trash, metal shavings, whatever else. And you can see this oil is pretty brown, which I'm hoping that's a testament to the Berrymans cleaning the trash out of it. Because when I changed the oil in old Red out there at 500, it wasn't quite this brown. But it's really not that bad. It's just a little bit darker, and that's what we want. We want the dirt and the trash to come out. From what I see going in the pan, I don't really see much evidence of too much foreign material, which is a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and let this drain a minute, and then we'll move to the filter. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. Let the oil pan drain. Put the plug back in. Like I said, I just use a regular wrench. You don't really have to, I mean, you want to make sure it's tight, but you don't want to go crazy where you're stripping things. Now it's time for the oil filter. And this is the one particularly for this vehicle.
What kind is it?
It's a Napa Gold, which is made by Wix. Wix are real good filters. I recommend them to y'all. There's a couple other high performance options, but Wix is real good. And here on the filter, today is the 15th, so we're going to go ahead and mark it. And the mileage was 171,970. That way, if I were to forget, I could actually crawl up under there and check that out. But we're also going to put us a sticker up there in the window. So we'll know when 5,000 miles is up. Now, on this one, the filter mounts the same way it's sitting right here. So we can go ahead and fill it up. It's always a good idea if you can get at least some oil into your filter. But now some of them are mounted sideways and some of them are mounted upside down, and then I'm going to take a little bit of that clean oil and I'm going to wipe it around that gasket right there. Because we need that gasket to be able to spin on the surface without binding, because we don't want to tighten that up too much either when we put it back. Hand tight is what you should, but it's real hard in this rig where it's mounted to just do it hand tight. So I get it as much as I can, and then I put my wrench on it. Just give her a tad more.
What kind of oil are you using?
And this one calls for 520, and we use full synthetic from Napa. Napa's got good stuff. I like their stuff. You can get your oil any one of your favorite places. Just always find out. Usually on your oil lid on your engine, it'll tell you what grade to use. You can use full synthetic, or you can use blend, or you can use conventional oil. Whatever it is you like. But synthetic, it's good stuff. Okay. And here I got a few options of different oil filters for vehicles and stuff I had over the year. Actually, I think that goes to the lawnmower. But this is a universal one that can fit several different sizes. You can flip it over this way and use that for your wrench, or you can flip it over this way for a little bit bigger ones. Now this is where a ratchet is kind of necessary for this particular project, because a lot of your filters, and you can see this one is for Henrietta, I already got it marked. But you put that ratchet in there, and that's how you get your torque. This is a more universal unit that also works with a ratchet. But when you go to loosen it, the jaws clamp in on your filter and give you that grip you need to turn it. And this is a couple other styles. When you have plenty of room, you can put this particular wrench on there, and as you go to turn it, it'll bite down on it and give you the leverage you need to turn. And this is an old school strap style. You put that up around your filter, put your ratchet in that hole. This actually takes a bigger ratchet. And as it rolls, it will tighten in around that filter, get a good bite, turn it, break it loose. Now, be ready. You're gonna have a mess in most cases. This one in particular makes one heck of a mess because the filter is mounted above the front axle assembly, and it rains down all over top of everything. So I always end up having to use a full can of brake clean after I get done here. You're gonna have to stand up here. Actually, wait a minute.
Okay.
Alright, everybody. The best I can do is get my filter in or my catch pan in a pretty good spot. I have to reach in through here to get to my filter. And it usually takes me 2 hands, even though I don't have room for 2 hands. There we go, we're on the filter. Now we're gonna get it to turn. This is why you only hand tighten them, because when that seal gets warm, it expands. And it ends up more than hand tight when it's time to come off. You can see that it is very tight in here as far as getting to your old filter. Not all of them are this tight. The one on old red has an angle bracket, or an angle that points right straight towards the fan, makes it a whole lot easier to get in and out. Some are mounted towards the back of the engine. Some are mounted on top of the engine. You just have to check your owner's manuals. Now here's where the mess is going to come. This is where it's a good idea to wear oil gloves, especially since we're doing it with the oil warm. And it's very likely I'm going to drop this. And try not to. The threads are very long-winded. Okay, she's free. Now, I have to try to balance it so it doesn't pour down in my face. And maybe not drop it. Wiggle it out and then put it in my catch pan. Now while you're down here, you want to look very carefully and make sure that you did not leave the gasket up on the oil filter housing. This one's pretty good because they use red gaskets so you can see. But if you forget to look and the gasket stays behind, which it does sometimes, and then you put a new filter up against it, you're going to have a definite leak because it will not seal. And you're going to have a huge mess. So always, like I said, make sure you look for your gasket, and then you take a towel, paper towel, rag, whatever you're using, and you want to reach up in there and you want to wipe that off. And remember, we put oil in this filter, so we want to make sure we don't turn it upside down. And you can see there's still mess running all down in there. Because it fell on top of the drive axle and the other assemblies that are up there below it. Reach up in here. I'll wipe off this gasket surface. We just want to make sure there's no dirt or anything that kind of got up on it after we took the filter off. Well, there it went. And every bit of oil I put in it is all draining out. Holy cow. Somebody called down to Chrysler and asked them fools why they did this. Tell you why they did it. They want you to bring it to their garage and let them do it. They're positive. All right, everybody. Well, now that I'm covered in oil, underneath of the truck's covered in oil, finally did get the filter threaded up in there. And like I said, can't really get my hands in there great for tightening, so I cheat a little bit and use a wrench, but I just do it guessing what I could do with my bare hands. If it's a little bit tighter than that, that's okay. It's better than being a little bit looser than that. Now what we're going to do, after we got a mess all over the truck and the floor and everything else, because whenever you spill oil on your engine, you really want to try to get it off, because once it warms up, you're going to be thinking you've got leaks and everything else, because it's going to stink like burning oil. So you can take a little bit of brake clean. Spray things down. Because just think, wherever your oil ran, when it was pouring all over you, your brake clean will run up in there too. You just try to get as many angles as you can. Really, for the most part, I'm just spraying and hoping and poking. What real hope is that we didn't wash all of our paint off of our filter where we marked it. But anyway, filter's back on. I had to take my gloves off because I couldn't get any grip. We know that we tightened up our oil plug. That's good. We know our filter is good and snug. So we are done underneath the vehicle. Leave that right there for now because we're dragging oil all over the garage. All right, see, it wipes away your paint. I'm gonna go ahead and get this set back down on the ground real quick. Whenever you check your oil, you wanna try to be as level as you can be. Now, it don't have to be super picky, but you don't really want to check your oil sitting on a hill or on a really bad slant because that won't tell you very good how close you are. Like I said, we've got our filter tight, got our oil pan plug tight. Now it's time to go back in with our clean oil. You can see there, tells me what viscosity of oil that they recommend I use. Take our trusty funnel, and get oil in these big old jugs. Now be mindful when you're buying this. This is a 5-quart jug, and most car grade oils you can buy them in a 5-quart and a 1-quart. But when you go with diesel oils, most of them come in 4-quart jugs. Always make sure you got plenty. Check your owner's manual or Google it. It'll tell you how much oil your engine holds. And that'll be including the new filter. And be mindful, if you should upgrade and use a bigger filter than normal, of course you're going to have to compensate. It's not going to be that much, but this is just stock filter. And the 5.7s, well, the 14 5.7s anyway, hold 7 quarts. So that gives us 5. Y'all may be wondering, well, what's he gonna do about that filter fully poured all over himself in the ground? Well, it's funny you should ask, because normally I buy 2 jugs, and that way I've got extra. But today just happened to be the day that I did not buy 2 jugs. So I'm probably going to be about a quarter, not quite a half quart short, but that's okay. I will get some more and I'll top it off. And you want to try to sneak up on it, even though I know how much this holds, but you don't actually throw it all in, because sometimes there's a little bit left. And to be a little bit over full is okay, but you don't want to try to run your engines over full. It's not good. Too much is more than enough. And it's better to be between the ad marks.
Your glasses?
Yeah. Better to be between the ad marks than it is to be above. Couple of reasons is it's much better for you to try to keep track of, you know, if you're losing any oil or okay, now it's showing top right now, so we know we're good for. You're blocking my light, sweetheart.
Sorry.
It's right here. It's right at the top of the safe where the little hole is. That's full. But keep in mind, we haven't started it yet. But in my mind, it's good practice to make sure you're up at least between the marks before you start it. That way, when you start it and it settles back, then you know where to bring it up to finish it out. I'm going to start it here for just a minute. You don't have to let it run very long. Minute, 2 at the most. And then you shut it down and you let it sit, because you got to let the oil drain back down in the oil pan. So we will be right back. Alright, everybody, I went ahead and started it up and let it run a minute or 2. Check the oil pressure. You want to keep an eye on that when you got whatever kind of gauge you got, digital or mechanical. But ran up to 58 pounds, and we're awful proud of that. So while we're waiting for our oil to drain back into our pan, we're going to be environmentally responsible, and we're going to put our oil into old oil jugs. Normally, even though you buy it in a 5-quart jug, there's actually more room in a jug. Your oil filter is going to hang on to some of it. And with the extra room in your jug, most of the time I can get all the Henriettas in one jug. But maybe not. That's why it's good to have an extra jug. And remember, your old oil, you can take it to most of your auto parts stores, and they will take your used motor oil. Or if you know someone that has an oil burner in their garage, like a fellow that I know, they will normally gladly accept your used oil, because they're going to use it for heat come wintertime. Or if you're real big time and you got your own oil burner, then you don't have them problems. But anyway, we get our old oil into our jugs, and that's a good way to kill time while you're waiting on the oil to drain back to the oil pan. Then when we get to this point, then we can go back over here and check our oil. Always remember to wipe the stick off Except when you go out first thing in the morning, if it's been sitting all night, then you can trust that all the oil is down out of the tube, and when you pull it, you're going to get pretty accurate. It's actually the best time. And we can see that our oil level is down here. It's between a half quart low and a quarter quart. So, go ahead and we'll wipe that off. Stick it in just a little ways so we don't stick it all the way back down in the oil. Get our filter. What was left in this jug? Let that run down through the engine there just a second. And we got lucky. Just enough to get her to the top, at the top of the full, or top of the safe where that little hole is right there. So we're good. So the bit we spilled down our arm under the truck didn't cost us that much. Do a quick double check. I always like to double and triple. Better to know twice than wonder after once. Yep, good to go. Get our funnel, put our lid back on. Take a look at our brake fluid while we're under here. And take a peek at our coolant level while we're here. And it's a good thing because it's down just a hair. Because you always, after you do any big service like we did before, you want to check your fluid levels for a few days, a week later. So it's always a good idea to always check them. But after a while, you get to knowing that you don't have any leaks or you're not using or losing any. Then you could check it a little less often. And you'll notice I hardly had to put anything in here. But that's why you want to start at your full marks so that when you go back and check it later, you know where you're at. And I know it's hard for y'all to see, but there's holes in this stick. And when you pull it out, water will hang in the hole and show you where you're at. And I ran this thing a little bit rich on antifreeze when I filled it up. So adding distilled water right here is not wrong. But if I were to need to add it again, then I will want to use some 50/50 antifreeze and water mix. And there we are. We're up at the max now. There's water hanging in that hole. So we know that our coolant level is good. We know our oil level is good. We can see our brake fluid. This truck has electric steering, so there's no power steering fluid. This is where your washer fluid goes. Normally there's a picture of a windshield and a squirter. And I don't think I have any. But anyway, you want to look things over, look at your belt, look at your battery terminals, make sure they're not corroding up or anything. And just sometime every few oil changes, or depending upon where you live, you want to take a look at your air filter. Of course, we just had that out the other day, so I know it's good. And there you have it. We have finished up our oil change. Checked our fluid levels. We know everything's good. And I know for some of y'all this is pretty basic maintenance, but there was a young lady that requested an oil change tutorial because she would like to start changing her own oil. And like I told you, my daughter knows how to change oil. She just won't do it. But get out there and do your own maintenance. That way you can keep track, you get familiar, you learn your noises and your leaks and whatever else, and
You save money.
Save money and take better care of your vehicle. And we really appreciate each and every one of you for Alright, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for visiting Hillbilly Garage. We ask you to like and subscribe. Keep coming back and visit. Throw some comments in. Get out there and do a little bit of work on your vehicles and take good care. We'll see y'all. Bye.